Hello friends, so the last week you were here, we made our pinch pot turtle. So if you remember, we actually made the pot first. We stuck our thumb in, we pinched around the edges, made it nice and smooth, and that was the shell of our turtle. And then we learned how to attach our legs and our head. And if you remember, we call that how to join clay. You got a paper like this one in your sketchbooks. You drew out the stages just so you remember them. So first you would mark it up or score it, all different lines. Then you would put a little bit of water on it, make it wet like glue. You stick the piece on and then you smooth it out. So that is what we went over last week. We just talked about the stages of clay, and you've already seen this paper. Remember, we used our clay in the second stage, the plastic stage, so we can mold it and actually create our turtle. Then it became leather hard, where it started to dry. When it was bone dry, I actually baked your clay or fired it, and now your clay is in stage 5, which means bisqueware. So if we were to actually glaze it, add that special kind of paint on the outside, it would be very shiny, but it would also take a long time to finish. So instead of glazing it today, we are going to paint it with whatever kinds of colors you would like. You're all going to get a tray, just like this one, that has every color in the rainbow. This is your regular paint, but I did add some water into it so it's not so thick. So you can make your turtle a normal turtle with green head and green legs and then a different kind of shell. You can make it a more exciting, creative turtle. I will leave that up to you. I'm going to let you use our small brushes today just so you can add those details. I think I'm going to start by making the head and body of my turtle green. The head and feet of my turtle. And I'm gonna mix my paint just a little bit. Your paint needs to stay in your tray today so we don't lose it. And I'm gonna go nice and slow because these are smaller details. And I'm gonna start to paint the head of my turtle. Make sure I get inside all those little cracks that we created last time. And if you remember, just like when we were in first grade, this is the same kind of paint we used to paint your bowls. It dries super fast. So, there's the head of my turtle. Now I might take my green, nice and slow. Paint my feet. And so on. So, you can see here, I'm adding not too much paint, thin layers, just to decorate my turtle. After I have painted the details of my turtle, then I can paint the shell. And you can make your shell whatever you want. If you're like me and you make a little mistake on the edge, that's okay, because you can always paint over it with a different color. And you can see the head of my turtle, if I touch it, it's already dry. There's no paint coming off on my finger. So I'm going to go ahead and keep painting my feet, my last foot on my turtle, and then I can start to paint my shell. When you paint your shell, if you're switching colors, make sure you rinse that brush out, just so you know it is clean. I'm going to close that because I'm not using it anymore. I think I'll make the shell of my turtle, I might do it red and blue stripes. So I'm going to start over here, add some red. I think I'll make the red stripes first. And when you get to that texture of your shell, you're going to have to use a little more paint. If you make a mistake and you get some of your shell paint on your arms or legs, you can always go back and touch it up. Okay, rinse my brush out. And I think, like I said, I'm going to use blue next. Now, your turtle might look different from mine, and that's totally fine, because it's your own creation. So, once I have painted my entire turtle, and that does include the bottom shell, then the last thing you're going to do is you're going to get a piece of paper with some of that gold paint called Rub and Buff we used in the fall last year. So That's the stuff we use to make our ornaments for Christmas very shiny. So I'm going to remind you how to use that in just a second here. So you can see I can still be a little more careful and add some more paint where those white spots are. I think the last thing I will do is make my inside of my shell blue. And this part can be a little messier because I'm just doing it one color. If you want to make your shell rainbow, that's fine. If you want to make your shell of polka dots, I do not mind. So here we are, painting my whole shell. Okay, once I'm done with my paint, I'll put that brush away. I won't need it anymore. And I'll go ahead and close my paint up. So, here's the last part we can do. I have already painted my turtle. The last thing I will give you today is a piece of paper with that rub and buff on it, like I said. So, this is the really gold thick paint we used in the fall, like I said. And the way this works is we take our finger, remember only one finger at a time, and we're going to actually spread out the rub and buff. And the way this works is we take our finger, remember only one finger at a time, and we're going to actually spread out the rub and buff. Alrighty friends, so we painted our turtles, and now I'm going to show you how I started to add my gold. And the way we did that, we use this just like our ornaments in the fall. I take my finger, I am going to tap it in the paint, and then I'm going to rub it around to make it smooth. Remember, it won't work unless it's smooth on your finger. Just dip your finger in, rub, rub, rub. Rub it around the turtle shell.